Hey everybody, this is Willow, and I'm working to help people to wake up. I want to talk to you guys tonight about Morgellons and mental illness, because there's been a lot of speculation about it, and a lot of controversy, but Morgellons victims are not mentally ill. We are not mentally ill. We are sane. We're just normal people who have been stricken with this awful disease. It's horrifying. It's terrifying. It's traumatizing. Okay. We're not delusional. Our symptoms are real. All of them. They're all real. And there's no way that you could dream up these kind of symptoms. These foreign objects that are coming out of the skin, the sores. I mean, it's crazy to think that people can make this up and just imagine all this is in their mind. But anyway, we're not crazy. And we're not mentally ill. But the severity of the symptoms, the severity of the physical symptoms, and because of the traumatic experiences that it causes, Morgellons can cause you to have a mental illness if you allow it to. What I mean by that is it's up to the individual. If you allow yourself to stay in depression, if you allow yourself to stay in the darkness, if you allow yourself to stay down and you don't do anything to try to pick yourself up and to go on and to fight this thing, yes, it can develop into a mental illness, and not only that, it can kill you if you allow it to. Now, for me, I was in there was about several years I was in a deep depression. I was. Morgellons was so traumatic. It was such a traumatic experience for me that I think for the first year I was just in a state of shock, horror, and horror, because I had no clue what was happening to me. And for years, it was 6 years before I found out that it was Morgellons disease. But you can just imagine that being stricken down with something this horrifying and not knowing what it is, and not knowing anybody else that knew what it was, no doctors and knew what it was. I mean, you just imagine how horrifying it is. So yes, if you allow yourself, you can develop a mental illness with this. But it's like I said, it's up to the individual. So if you want to stay in that dark night, of course you got a right to. But some people have chosen to take their lives. Some people with Morgellons, their pain and their suffering is just too much for them to bear, and they've taken their lives. So yes, Morgellons, it can kill you if you allow it to. But my message is that you don't have to let it kill you. You can make the choice to fight it. I made the choice to fight it. I felt like it was killing me. It was killing me. But I made the decision that I was going to fight it. I pulled myself up and I made a decision that I was going to heal my body. I was going to heal myself, and I did. So It's got a lot to do with the will of the person. You know, and it also has a lot to do with their spirituality. Now, Morgellons led to my spiritual awakening. It jump-started it for me. Does it do that for everybody? No, not necessarily. I mean, I know some people with Morgellons who are not interested in anything spiritually. They're not, don't appear to be spiritually awakened. Well, of course, doesn't necessarily mean that they're not, but no, I mean, it's there. And then there are a lot of spiritually awakened people who don't have Morgellons, so they're not necessarily tied together, but mine was. Morgellons led to my spiritual awakening. And so being spiritually awakened, that helped me, because being spiritually awakened is when you start, you start going inside yourself, and you start, I was forced inside myself because there was no help outside of myself. There was nobody out there to help me. I was on my own, so I was pretty much forced to go inside. So you can beat Morgellons if you make the decision to move out of the fear, out of the panic, out of the anxiety, out of the darkness, and move into the light. Now, the way you do that is you decide that you're going to shift from your head into your heart, because it's your head, your thinking, is where all of the darkness lies. All the fear, all the anxiety, all the chaos. So I made a decision to shift out of my head where all the negativity was going on, because I knew that if I didn't leave this place, if I did not leave this dark place, that I was going to die there. So I made that decision to shift out of the darkness and into the light, into my heart center. And I started meditating there, and I started making that connection with Source. And then when I made that connection, and I knew I made that connection, then it was the Source, or God, whatever you want to call it, that helped me, that guided me, that lifted me up, and showed me how to heal my body and my mind. So I'm living proof that you can rise above Morgellons. You can heal your body and your mind. And I made another video about this. It's called "Choose the Light to Beat Morgellons and All Darkness." So check out my YouTube channel and watch that video. It's called "Choose the Light," and it describes a lot about what I was talking about what I went through, and about Morgellons, and how, there's a theory, or actually there's information, that the powers that be were creating Morgellons to poison us. It's chemical poisoning. And the reason for doing that was to keep us down, to keep us sick, to keep us in darkness, to keep us defeated, and to make us, and to kill us, so that we won't wake up, so that we won't awaken, and we won't see the light. We won't turn to the light. So we're in a battle, folks. We're in a battle between the dark and the light. I am saying to you tonight that the light has already won this battle, but we still have to go through it. That should be encouraging to know that the light is already won. So it's your choice. What do you choose? The light or the darkness? So if you choose the light, then you have to move out of your head and into your heart, and you start healing